The rain comes down soft and steady, no wind behind it. Just a patient vertical fall that darkens the pavement and fills the air with the smell of wet stone. The street is empty except for the sound, that gentle static hum. Like the world breathing through water. An umbrella opens with a quiet snap of fabric pulled taut, black canopy. Catching the light from a street lamp that hasn't turned off yet. Even though it's afternoon. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. The kind that don't know where they're going but aren't worried about it. She stands there for a moment, this woman under the umbrella. Feeling the weight of the rain on the stretched fabric above her head. Listening to the rhythm it makes, soft, persistent, alive. The drops hit and slide and gather at the edges. Falling in thicker streams onto her shoulders, onto the sidewalk, into the small rivers forming along the curb. I used to run in the rain. I used to pull my coat over my head and sprint from the car to the door. From the door to the awning, from one dry place to the next. Like the rain was something dangerous, something to escape. I treated weather like an inconvenience. Like a delay. Like something that was happening to me instead of just happening. But today, I'm standing still. And the rain is falling. And I'm not running. For as long as I can remember, I've been the one who moved quickly. Not because I loved speed. Not because I was in great shape or had somewhere thrilling to be. But because that's what good women do. They show up on time. They don't make people wait, they keep things moving. My whole life has been measured in punctuality. I was early to work every single day for 34 years. Early to pick up the kids. Early to doctor's appointments, to meetings, to dinners. I didn't even want to attend. I prided myself on it. You can always count on her, people said. And I wore that like a medal. Reliable. Dependable. The one who never left anyone waiting. Even after I stopped working, after the house emptied. And the calendar cleared, I kept the same pace. I walked fast through grocery stores. I talked fast on the phone. I ate standing up more often than I want to admit. One hand holding toast, the other. Flipping through mail, moving from task to task like I was still clocking in somewhere. My husband used to laugh at me. Not meanly, just bemused. "Where's the fire?" he'd ask when I'd speed walk past him in the hallway. And I'd say something like, "I just want to get it done." Even when it was nothing. Even when there was no deadline, no urgency. No real reason to hurry except that hurrying was the only gear I knew. Rain made it worse. Rain felt like resistance. Like the world slowing me down on purpose. I'd check the weather obsessively. Planning my routes to avoid getting wet, timing my errands between showers. If I got caught in it, I'd hunch my shoulders and move faster, like I could outrun the sky. I bought umbrellas and never used them. Because stopping to open one felt like wasting time. I'd rather just get soaked and be done with it. I remember one afternoon, must have been 10, maybe 12 years ago. I was walking to my car after a work meeting, and the rain started. Not hard, just a light drizzle, the kind that barely counts. But I broke into a jog anyway. Heels clicking fast on the wet pavement, purse swinging, breath short. A man sitting on a bench under an awning called out to me. Friendly, laughing a little. "It's just water," he said. I didn't stop. I didn't even smile. I got in my car, slammed the door, and sat there. Catching my breath like I'd been chased. It's just water. But I didn't know how to be in it. I didn't know how to let it touch me without feeling. Like I was losing time, losing control, losing ground. My daughter once asked me why I walked so fast. She was maybe 14, trying to keep up with me through a shopping mall, and finally. She just stopped and said, "Mom, slow down. I'm not a runner." I told her I wasn't walking fast, she was walking slow. I actually said that. I made her feel like the problem. Now I think about that moment a lot. How I was so locked into my rhythm I couldn't even hear hers. How I thought speed was virtue and slowness was laziness. How I believed that if I kept moving, nothing bad could catch me. Not age, not regret, not the creeping sense that maybe I'd spent my whole life getting somewhere without ever asking where I was going. Even in my 50s, even after my body started asking me to slow down. Knees that ached in the cold, a lower back that protested after long days, I pushed. I walked fast. I drove fast. I said yes fast. I moved through the world like I was late for my own life. I didn't know how to arrive slowly. I didn't know that slowness could be a choice, not a failure. That pausing wasn't the same as stopping. That there was a difference between being still and being stuck. I thought motion was proof of life. I thought if I stopped moving, I'd disappear. So I walked. I rushed. I ran through rain and sun and snow and years. Always a little bit ahead of myself, always leaning forward. Always feeling like I was almost there but never quite arriving. And the irony is, I don't even remember most of those years. They blurred together. A streak of fast days. A long line of places I got to on time but didn't really see. I was so busy going that I forgot to be. My mother was the same way. She died at 73, and at her funeral, person after person said the same thing: she never sat still. They meant it as a compliment. They meant she was vibrant, active, alive. But I remember the last year of her life, how she kept trying to get up from her chair. Even when she couldn't, how she'd say, "I should be doing something." Even when there was nothing left to do. I wonder now if she was tired. If maybe all that motion was just a way to not feel the weight of being still. If maybe she, like me, didn't trust herself to stop. I didn't want to die the way she did, still reaching for the next thing. But I didn't know how to be any other way. It was a Tuesday in October. I know because I'd crossed off Monday the night before on the kitchen calendar. And the next square was blank. No appointments. No errands I couldn't postpone. My husband was visiting his brother upstate. The house was mine. The day was mine. I woke up to the sound of rain. Not a storm. Not a downpour. Just a steady, even fall, the kind that settles in for hours. And doesn't ask for attention. I made coffee. I stood at the kitchen window and watched it come down. Soft and gray, turning the street into a watercolor. The trees across the way were dark with it, their leaves heavy, dripping. I thought about staying in. I had a book I'd been meaning to read. A puzzle half finished on the dining room table. But there was something about the rain that made me want to be in it. Not to run through it. Just to be with it. So I put on my jacket, the long one, navy blue, with the hood I never use. I found an umbrella in the closet, one I must have bought years ago and forgotten about, still creased from the package. I opened the front door and stood on the porch for a moment, just listening. The sound was everywhere. On the roof. On the leaves. On the sidewalk. On the cars parked along the street. Each surface gave the rain a different voice. Sharp on metal, soft on grass, hollow on the trash cans by the curb. It was like an orchestra with no conductor, just playing, just going. I opened the umbrella. The fabric resisted for a second, then bloomed open above me with a soft whoop. The rain hit it immediately, 100 tiny fingers drumming. And I stepped off the porch into it. I didn't have anywhere to go. There was a small park about 6 blocks away, with a pond and a path that looped around it. But I wasn't aiming for that. I wasn't aiming for anything. I just started walking. Slowly. One foot, then the other. Heel, toe. Heel, toe. The rhythm of my steps matching the rhythm of the rain. No hurry. No lean forward. Just movement. Just being in the world while the world did what it was doing. The rain on the umbrella was louder than I expected. Constant. Almost hypnotic. Like white noise, but wetter, more alive. I could feel the slight pull of the wind against the fabric. The way it wanted to tug the umbrella backward, but I held it steady. I could feel the cool air on my face, the dampness soaking into the cuffs of my jeans, where they dragged a little too long. The street was empty. Most people were inside, I guess. Smart people, dry people. But I was out here, walking, and I realized I wasn't cold. I wasn't uncomfortable. I was just here. A car passed, slow, tires hissing on the wet asphalt, headlights pale in the gray afternoon light. The sound of it faded behind me. A dog barked somewhere, muffled by distance and weather. A door closed. A gutter dripped. I stopped at the corner, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I stood under my umbrella and watched the rain hit the street. The way it bounced slightly on impact. The way it pooled in the low spots and ran toward the drain. I watched the patterns it made on the parked cars. Streaks down the windows, droplets hanging from the side mirrors like tiny glass beads. And I thought, this rain isn't in a hurry. It wasn't rushing to be done. It wasn't trying to get somewhere faster. It was just falling, slow and sure, doing what rain does. It didn't care if I was out here or inside. It didn't care if I had plans or not. It just was. And for the first time in as long as I could remember, I felt the same way. I started walking again. Past the park, past the coffee shop with its steamed-up windows, past the library, where a few people sat reading under yellow lamps. I didn't check my phone. I didn't wonder what time it was. I just walked, listening to the rain, feeling the weight of my own body moving through space, not racing. Not performing, not proving anything to anyone. There was a bench near the pond, under a big oak tree, that was still holding most of its leaves. The rain was lighter there, filtered through branches. I sat down, umbrella still open, tilted back a little so I could see the water. The pond was pocked with rain. Thousands of little circles spreading out and overlapping, a living geometry. A duck floated near the far edge, unbothered. It dipped its head under, came back up, shook water off its feathers. Even though it was already wet, I almost laughed. I sat there for a long time. Maybe 20 minutes. Maybe an hour. I honestly don't know. Time felt different under the rain. Softer. Less like a countdown and more like a current you could float in. And I thought about all the years I'd spent running. All the rain I'd tried to avoid. All the moments I'd rushed through because I thought stillness was the same as waste. I thought about my mother, always moving. My daughter, asking me to slow down. My husband, laughing at my hurry. And I thought, what was I so afraid of? After that day, something in me shifted. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But like a door left slightly open, letting in a different kind of air. I started walking slower. Not because I had to. Not because my knees hurt or my back ached, though they did sometimes. But because I wanted to. Because I liked what I saw when I wasn't racing past it. The way light came through the trees in the morning. The way the neighbor's cat sat on the porch, railing, perfectly still, watching birds. The way the bakery smelled when I gave myself time to stand outside and breathe it in before going inside. I stopped setting alarms for things that didn't need them. I stopped saying, I'll be there in 10 minutes, and then driving like I was fleeing a crime scene. I started giving myself arrival time, extra time. Buffer time, the kind of time that let me sit in the car for a moment before getting out. Let me finish a thought before rushing into the next thing. My husband noticed. You're different, he said one morning, watching me pour coffee with both hands. No phone in my lap, no list in my head. I asked him what he meant. He said, you're here. I called my daughter more often. Not quick calls, not just checking in. Real calls, where I sat down and let the conversation wander. She told me about her job, her friends, her worries. And I didn't rush her. I didn't offer solutions before she finished talking. I just listened, the way the rain had listened to me. Patient, present, without agenda. I started cooking again. Really cooking. Not just throwing together meals to get them done. But measuring, stirring, tasting, adjusting. I'd put on music and move around the kitchen. Slowly, chopping vegetables with care, letting the garlic soften in the pan before adding anything else. I found that I liked it. The slowness, the attention, the way time stretched out when you gave it something to hold. I started gardening too, which I'd always thought I didn't have the patience for. But patience, I was learning, wasn't something you either had or didn't. It was something you practiced. I planted bulbs in the fall, knowing I wouldn't see them until spring. I watered them even when nothing was visible yet. I pulled weeds slowly, on my knees, feeling the dirt under my nails. The sun on my back, the ache in my thighs. That meant I was alive and using my body the way it was meant to be used. I stopped saying yes so fast. When someone asked me to do something, I started saying, "Let me check," even if my calendar was empty. Not to be coy, not to play games, but because I needed time to feel whether I actually wanted to do it. Whether it was something I'd enjoy, or just something I'd survive. I was done surviving things I could simply decline. People noticed. Some of them liked it. My friend Joanne said, "You seem lighter." My sister said, "You're not as stressed." But a few people were confused. A few people said things like, "Are you okay?" Because apparently, slowing down looks like sadness if you've only ever seen someone run. I wasn't sad. I was awake. I was awake to the way my body moved through space. The way my breath deepened when I wasn't rushing. The way my thoughts cleared when I gave them room. I was awake to the fact that I'd spent decades trying to keep up with a pace that no one had actually set for me. I'd been racing myself, competing with some invisible clock that only I could hear. And now I couldn't hear it anymore. Or maybe I could, but I'd stopped listening. I started noticing other people who moved slowly. Old men on benches. Young mothers pushing strollers with no destination. Teenagers sitting on curbs, talking, laughing. Taking up space in the world without apologizing for it. I used to think they were wasting time. Now I thought they were spending it. One afternoon, I went back to that bench by the pond. It wasn't raining this time. The sky was clear, the air cool and bright. I sat down with a thermos of tea and just watched. Watched the water. Watched the ducks. Watched a man fly a kite with his grandson. The string pulling taut, the boy's face open with wonder. I stayed for an hour. Maybe more. And when I left, I didn't feel like I'd lost time. I felt like I'd found it. Like I'd picked it up off the ground. Where I'd dropped it years ago and put it back in my pocket where it belonged. I started treating my age differently too. I stopped seeing it as something to fight or hide or apologize for. I stopped dyeing my hair as often. I let the silver come in at the temples, then along the part, then everywhere. My daughter said it looked elegant. My husband said he liked it. I said I didn't care either way, which was a lie. I loved it. I loved that it was true. That it matched who I was becoming. I stopped wearing shoes that hurt. I stopped sitting in chairs that made my back ache. Just because they looked nice. I stopped pretending I had the energy I had at 30. I didn't, and that was fine. I had something better now. I had clarity. I had presence. I had the ability to sit still without feeling like I was failing. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't giving up. I was letting the world move at its own pace. And I was moving with it, not ahead of it. Not behind it, just inside it, the way rain falls inside air. Now, when it rains, I don't run. I stand at the window with a cup of tea in both hands, watching it come down. Listening to it tap against the glass. Against the roof, against the world outside. I watch people on the street below, some running, some walking. Some standing under awnings waiting for it to stop. And I don't judge them. I know what it's like to think rain is something you have to beat. But I also know what it's like to stand in it. To let it touch you. To let it set the rhythm. The rain didn't rush that day. That slow Tuesday in October when I walked to the pond and sat on the bench. And finally stopped running. The rain just fell. Patient. Persistent. Unworried. And I decided I wouldn't rush either. Not through rain. Not through mornings. Not through phone calls or meals or conversations or years. I decided I'd spent enough of my life getting somewhere. Now I wanted to be somewhere. Here. In this body. In this moment. In this soft, slow, rain-soaked life that I almost missed. Because I was moving too fast to feel it. Outside, the rain keeps falling. Steady, gentle, endless. And I stand here, warm and dry and still, listening to it the way you listen to music. You love not because it's going somewhere, but because it's beautiful right where it is.